Yo, YouTube! What's going on? It's your boy Buddha back in the building and back into Last Cloudia for another video. A bit different and something I haven't really done yet, but I wanted to do more of a discussion video because today is the last day you can actually check out this story between the newest introduction of Meredy, Lilibet's longtime friend from Blaze Garden, right? This is the last, we got about 12 hours until the event expires. This is the last time I can kind of archive this little piece of history in the LC lore. So I just wanted to go through it and talk about what I'm speculating to be the next permanent unit to be introduced into the game Last Cloudia. I think that was kind of the purpose of this story right here, was to introduce Meredy. You know, it also tied into shift Lilibet's appearance in the main story, which I haven't gotten to, but I don't think it's any spoiler or secret. Obviously, that's kind of where the main story's caught up to. This is giving a little background between Meredy, between Lilibet and who they introduced. We're seeing her right here, Meredy. Now, the interesting discussion, right? This video's has become something I wanted to do ever since Barleen over in the Discord mentioned that a new perm unit was coming soon. I mean, who else would it be? It just seems like the answer's written literally in this story quest. Meredy seems like a really cool, unique, I mean, you can see the details and the quirkiness that they put into her sprite with that giant hammer, right? They little story about her coming back into town to visit. They're gonna go collect some ore, and Meredy's kind of this engineer that's trying to be the best machine engineer, second to Murren. We're gonna see they go back and forth in this story. But I wanted to discuss and get feedback on what you guys think her kit could look like, because we can see she's a giant hammer user. So I wonder if they're going to try and start moving away from the dual wield meta that most physical attack damage dealers now pretty much need to maximize their damage output, because clearly by her design she is not meant to look like she can wield two weapons. She's gonna be a hammer user, which I believe I was reading in my Discord. You know, we don't really see any of those. Who do we got? Claire and Dalgion, Goroth, and does Luger? Is he a hammer style? I actually have no idea what Luger's kit looks like, but can't really mistake it. She's got a hammer that's bigger than herself. I can't lie. It's a cool sprite. I would like it. I like the color design, the yellow, the purple, the blue, and then she's got the brownish hair. You know, she's a cool looking character that I think would be fun to have on your team, seeing her run around the field and just smacking everything with that giant hammer. It just made me question, you know, what are they going to be trying to bring with her? Clearly she's going to be a physical attacker, but just like they introduced V as a sniper who clearly does what he does very well, I believe it kind of brought the sniper role back up in terms of viability. I think a lot of people are going to be using V. You know, he's kind of this glass cannon sniper that also has status ailments. I thought that was a really good combo to kind of bring the sniper class back into the spotlight, even though he's kind of untraditional. I'm wondering if they're going to try and do the same kind of thing with her. I'm looking at her design, and initially I'm like, you know, are they going to try and make her a tank, a soldier, or a knight style? But it doesn't look like she has a lot of bulky armor. I look at units like Gorm and Medine, and they've got this big, giant armor on top of them. Gorm's got the giant shield. Medine's got the giant spear. So I don't see that with her kit. I see this giant hammer. But we can see throughout this story that she is an engineer, like I said before, and she's constantly looking for ways to invent new things. So I wonder if kind of how like Libet has her mule type 0 or whatever it's called, if this Meredy girl is going to have different kinds of machinery she uses in battle. Maybe something for a long-range attack. Maybe one of her attacks is using her hammer, and then another one is some other kind of machinery that she's working with. And that makes me think, what kind of element are they going to introduce with her, right? I want to call no attribute damage, and I'd like to see that as well. I think the last no attribute damage dealer would be Bayland or Lagerboss. I don't know which one was introduced when, but as far as physical attackers, I think Bayland is the only top tier no attribute physical attacker. Please correct me if I'm wrong, because you know your boy is still a newbie. I'm starting to get a little more into the story and understanding of the game, but I've still got so much to learn. That's what I love about this game, is that it's so deep. There's so much depth to this game that you can just constantly be learning and finding new strategies. Part of the reason I like it so much, obviously. Here she's talking about Mule, like there's the kid there's the machine right there. It'd be awesome to see Meredy in battle launching out different machines, or using, like, what if her hammer can transform into different weapons? Looking at how crazy and intricate and detailed it is, I wonder if it can transform on sight. You know, I think there's a lot of possibilities they can introduce with her being an engineer style character. Going back to the elements, like I said, no attribute makes sense to me. I also thought of thunder damage, you know, electricity and machinery kind of go hand in hand, but since they kind of have Ray, who was only introduced a couple months ago, especially as dominant as he is, I don't see them releasing another thunder character this early, because she's definitely not going to replace him. Maybe they would, in the sense, if she's fulfilling a different role, if they do want to try and bring tanks back to relevancy, then I guess, yeah, we don't really have, well, no, because then we have Lance Vale. So then what, is she just a better Lance Vale? I'd like to see them do a little more variation than that. So I kind of crossed Thunder off my list. Maybe she has a multi-elemental kit like we see with Nero. Maybe like one of her attacks does thunder damage, another one does maybe fire damage. I don't see fire damage in her kit as well, just because we have Dante being such a new and dominant force in that element. Although she is on fire right here. Kyle kind of does the same thing, right? When he gets fired up, literally they put a little fire behind the sprite, but I don't know if that is because they are of that element. Maybe a fire tank would be pretty dope. But I think there's a lot of possibilities. They didn't give us much here. They didn't show us any battle scenes with her, you know, launching any attacks. It's just really cut. It's a lot of dialogue with this story, as you're seeing. They're just kind of reminiscing about their childhood friendship and Libette's family. She keeps comparing herself. Meredy is this ambitious engineer that's traveling the world, and Libette feels like she's just kind of sitting on her butt in Blaze Garden and not doing much. So it's a lot of trying to cheer Libette up, not as much showcase. It's not a lot of showcasing of what Meredy can do, which is why I think this is just their way to introduce her and get our attention over to her. I also don't think she's going to be an earth type attacker, with Libette being as dominant in that field as she is. And I mean, Libette was literally the last DOH unit to come out before this collab, so I don't see them releasing back-to-back same element type units. So I've kind of crossed that out of my potential possibilities immediately. So like I said, if she is going to be a tank, she'd be introduced as a knight class, correct? I would love to see them bring an OP tank back into the game. They've heard our criticism and feedback on, you know, snipers and tanks being irrelevant in today's meta. I think they absolutely delivered, or just took a really great step in the right direction with the introduction of V, and I'm hoping I'm getting the tanky vibes based on this girl's sprite. Look at that, Discord's popping off. I'm getting the vibes of a tank from her in this sprite. I think I'm going in the right order. I hope so. So yeah, this is where they find the ore to repair, right? Their mission right now is to find this ore that we can see to repair a skyship. Gives them an excuse to go on their own journey and catch up. Give us this back and forth dialogue. But there's a lot of potential with Meredy. Like I said before, I like her sprite. I know a lot of people are looking forward to her being in game, and with Barleen saying a permanent unit is coming, pretty confident saying we've already been introduced to who that is. And I'm excited. Your boy is probably going to spend some stones on her, but I'm not going to chase her, I don't think, unless she's got just this awesome kit that's so fun to play with and like renders a bunch of physical attackers almost useless. Oh man, that would be so good to see. I'd love to see the elites troll people in PvP with her, because I mean that's all, like the entire PvP meta is just ridiculous PDPS, Alice's, Logia's, DB Rays, Shift Lilibet flying all over the screen. And look at that, she goes and saves her right there. Flying all over the screen, closing the distance between everyone. A couple mages here and there, but really the physical attackers are just reigning supreme over this entire game, in my opinion. Here they go into battle. Like, it would have been cool to see Meredy, once you beat this battle in the next story segment that we're going to see. It would have been cool to watch one of her battle animations, but I think they're saving it for the release of her, so we'll see what exactly she comes with and when she comes. And like I said, this is all speculation. This is not guaranteed. I just figured with this event coming to an end and that soft confirmation from Barleen that we're getting the new permanent unit, that this would be a good time to archive this story and give my thoughts of a what-if scenario if Meredy comes to the game next. I think in this last part right here, they do a funny little over 9,000 reference. Let me see if I can get to it. But like I said, there's not a lot of lore to digest here. I mean, here, Mobile Gamers Unite mentioned it before. Meredy makes this comment that her parents are like superhumans, because Lilibet's comparing herself to her parents. Or maybe that was in a past one that I missed because I'm talking. But not too much lore to dissect from here or speculate any, you know, coming with story or any future story that's coming. I just wanted to make sure to keep this because I did kind of do a story recap for the Alice event that rolled around, which I think is just a nice little thing to have on the channel in case anyone comes into the game after this event's already passed and they want to see a little, maybe they pull Meredy in the future, they want to see a little background, a little more lore involving her. This just gives me the opportunity to make a video that encompasses that. And basically, I think I'm going to skip this because this is just some positive reinforcement from Meredy telling Libet, don't get so down on yourself. Be happy with everything that you have. You don't have to be striving to be the best engineer like me or the best warriors like your parents. Be happy that you've got a community that loves you. You got people that love you and that want to see you succeed in whatever you do. Just don't be so hard on yourself, basically. And it inspires Libet to turn around and start focusing on her training, which then, of course, as we know, leads her to that mission where she runs into Kyle and Ray, and boom, the main story starts. And we'll see when Meredy comes back into the story next. It should be interesting, I'd say, because she was talking about building a skyship from scratch. Maybe she says that later here at some point, or no, I think she said that way earlier in the story. But she wants to build a skyship from scratch, so I think it'd be dope if, you know, the main cast are in a pinch, and all of a sudden you see this badass custom skyship just coming out of nowhere and blast whatever enemies are on the field. You got Meredy in the front of the ship like, "Sup, Lil? What's up? Long time no see." Remember I told you I wanted to build a skyship? So like, you know, she's a cool design. She's a quirky character. I think a lot of people are going to want her, and I hope they do her justice, and I hope they do the game justice by introducing just something we haven't seen or aren't accustomed to, maybe shakes up the meta a little bit. It's going to be hard to do because of how dominant the physical attackers are right now, if she is a tank like I'm speculating. But she could very well just be another physical style attacker, but maybe just a little slower pace that deals a huge amount of damage in one blow. That's another possibility. You know, she's kind of got like a Street Fighter, reminds me of a Street Fighter costume getup more than tanky, bulky armor. And then she just has this giant weapon in front of her. This is where Lebet realizes, you know what? I think my goal is just to protect all the people that care about me. And yeah, like I said, she gets that drive with this little talk to start with her journey to become the best fighter. This is a very long dialogue. I'm really just trying to fill up the space with my voice. But I've kind of run out of pointers to make. You know, Meredy, she's got a hammer, so she's a hammer style user, obviously. Element, question mark. Like I said, as an engineer, I don't see an obvious element of choice. I don't see them bringing another Thunder style user into the mix this soon, so I kind of ruled that out. Fire, possibly, but as we know, we've only got 2 shift characters left out of the main cast. We got Zex, and then Kyle, who is going, I mean, quote me right now, Kyle is going to be the most dominant fire. Shift Kyle is going to be the most dominant fire attacker in the game. Unless they do a complete 180 and turn him into a different element with his shift. Like, he has to be, right? He is literally the main character. They got to do him justice, especially since his original character right now is bottom on the tier list. No one runs him. They're going to make his shift one of the best. Take my word for it. So I don't know if they'll introduce this character as a fire style type attacker or tank. Definitely not Earth. I'd be willing to put money that Meredy is not an Earth type element user. And man, when you're sure of yourself like that, sometimes it just comes and bites you in the ass. And what if she comes out as Earth and everyone's like, yo, Buddha. You might want to put your foot in your mouth, but it's the risk we run given our opinions online, right? Just logically, I don't think it makes sense for them to drop this character if she is the next permanent unit that Barleen was talking about. It doesn't make sense for them to make her an Earth type user right after Shift Lilibet. What are your thoughts, guys? I'm very interested to know. This is the final cutscene here where it shows Lebet becoming the warrior that we know she is now. And today, not because of obligation, but because it's what I wanted to do. So inspiring. There's good old Murren, the grandpa, laughing, and good old Lagra boss, being the boss that he is, the no attribute magic style user. I really, really want him. Maybe, you know, I maybe should have summoned on that limited time DOH banner rather than the, oh, look at that. Make sure to log in, get your dailies, rather than the collab banner, because we know how that banner's treated me. I don't know if I'm going to go back in on that. I think I'm going to save. You can see I got a nice round 30,000 crystals. I don't know how I managed that, but I may just wait until I see something that really piques my interest. As I'm seeing more of these collab character analyses, I'm like, bruh, my Ray and Alice, I think, could smoke all of these characters in showcases. Now, let me know if I'm completely wrong on that. I mean, I know they can be godly. Dante, after you launch his special, gets ridiculous stat boosts. Nero comes with a great skill. He comes with great skills on his ability board, and then V is very dominant in what he does, a status ailment long range attacker. But bruh, when Alice and Ray close the distance on you as quick as they do, and they just start whacking you in the face with their attacks, Nero, my Nero is pretty built out, and he just doesn't hold a candle to them in any of the content that I take on. So, you know, I've still got a lot to do on him. I do want to max him out just so I have one of these collab characters maxed out, ready to go for whatever. But I don't know if I'm going to be chasing the other two. I think I'm going to wait for the next unit that really piques my interest, like Meredy. If she comes in and she's this new kind of tank meta that we haven't seen before, I'd rather invest into her, see how she performs in the game, versus these other characters that, you know, V's new. He'd be cool, but that's all I gotta say. We'll see. I've got some judgment calls to make. What do you guys think? Do you think Meredy is the permanent unit that Barleen was referencing, or do you think it could be anything? Do you think Adis could throw anything at us and there is no way to tell what they've got in store? Either way, I'm excited. There's the little backstory between Meredy and Lebet with the event leaving us very soon. Guys, y'all know what I say. Work hard, play harder. See you in the next video.